India is slowly but surely making its presence felt in the world of motorsports. A new wave of youngsters, along with some seasoned campaigners, are driving that change. And right at the forefront is one of India's biggest names in F1 and F2, Kush Maini. Earlier this week, I had the chance to talk to Alpine's reserve driver, from his early struggles as a young racer to the motivation that still fuels him today. Maini opened up with some hard-hitting answers. In fact, he even revealed how something as raw as jealousy first pushed him into motorsport itself, and how that emotion has later transformed into passion. Catch the full interview here to see the real story behind India's rising face in global racing. Kush Maini from home. Thank you so much for speaking to us. It's a pleasure, and hope you're doing well.
No, pleasure's mine. Thank you for your time.
Kush, I have to ask you first off, this is a sport that is very, very difficult to move up the ranks especially when it is from India. What motivated you to take this up in the first place?
Honestly, it started off a bit as obviously my dad was in racing. He was at the national level, and my brother is 3 years older than me, Arjun. He started racing at a young age, and he was very good at the start, and he was getting a lot of attention from everyone because he was winning. So it was a bit of I was jealous and I wanted to beat him at racing. So I didn't really love it at first. I used to love every sport, but I wanted to just do racing to try and beat him. But eventually, at 11 or 12 years old, is when I started realizing that I actually fell in love with the sport, and that's when I went to Europe because I wanted to give it a proper shot and try and make it. So yeah, that's how it started, really.
In fact, that was my next question. It runs in the family, so where does the real inspiration come from? Do you not have to look outside the home, or is there someone else that you really look up to, especially when you're talking about this particular sport?
I have to say Arjun, my brother, but honestly, I was very cocky young kid, so I would say at the start it was just trying to beat them, but eventually I did fall in love with the sport. But he definitely fell in love with it a lot earlier than me, so at the start it was just about competition, but eventually I did fall in love with it. So I would have to say my brother.
I love it. I love it when there's healthy rivalry. We see that so often, especially in this generation, across various disciplines too. But you speak about how you didn't like it initially, and then now it's obviously second skin. What part, or what was that time when you really realized, okay, this is exactly where you belong, and this is exactly what you had to do?
I would say probably when I won my first race, a proper big race at 11 or 12. That's when I was like, okay, I can do this. And that's when something clicked in my head where, I wasn't confused anymore between other sports. I just wanted to sacrifice everything for this sport. And that's when my dad sort of saw that as well. And luckily he gave me this opportunity. My whole family gave me this opportunity. I was very lucky to have it. But I would say around that age is when it changed. I started karting for fun when I was 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So it took almost 3-4 years to get to that level.
I have to ask you, at this point, when you look at how far you've come, and of course there's a long way to go too, where do you see your achievements sit at this stage? Because it is difficult to produce someone like you when you look at a country as populated, as massive as India, but still there is someone like you who's come up. Of course, there were drivers before you. We know that. There was a Naren Karthik and this Karan Chandok. There are people, but where do you space yourself at this point? How do you view your achievements currently?
Me currently, I'm nowhere near what I want to be, and I'm nowhere near where I think I can be. I feel there's a long way to go, and I really want to put India on the Formula One map, not just Formula 2.
Absolutely.
And that's my main goal still. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. So looking at that, I've nowhere near achieved what I want to.
I want you to tell us about the challenges that someone like you faces in a sport like this. And what's your vision like? How do you goal set, especially when you look at the next couple of years? It's crucial. Tell us a bit about that.
I would say definitely the toughest part in racing would be because there's not, a massive platform to race in India.
Yeah.
I would say I had to leave India very early. I love India and everything I know is here. So to leave India at 12 alone and go live with a mechanic in Europe, obviously with such a different culture at a young age, was scary. But also, you miss a lot of your childhood. Whereas for a European, it would be a 2-hour flight on the weekend. They go with the race, they come back to their lives. So
Yeah.
for us, it was almost like we leave everything behind. So to do that, obviously financially and also just for a young kid mentally is very tough. So I would say that would probably be the toughest. And, from then for like 10, 15 years, I mean, no one really knew who you are. You didn't really feel like you were making a difference. So that would be the hardest part, where you feel you've given up everything, but you still don't feel like you're making a big enough difference. So yeah, I would say uh, giving up your childhood and giving up everything you know from a young age would probably be the biggest thing. There's a lot of sacrifices that go into this, and obviously to do it alone as well at that young age was tough. But to have Arjun do it as well, honestly, I don't think I would have been able to do it without him doing it by my side.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion ka karjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Sekali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select a language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.